I truly can't tell you why I have just a big like gravitation towards unique cameras. I don't know if it's my ADHD or maybe I'm just getting just like I just want something new. I want something kind of different, you know? And I'm not saying all new cameras that come out aren't unique. They're unique in their own way, whether it's like it's a new series or another model that's added to already existing series and they're just like, hey, we made it better, or hey, we added this one feature, you know, like just something in a way that makes it different. But I'm talking about something that makes people kind of go, wow, they really made that camera. Something that really gets people to kind of almost confuse at first, but then understand it near the end. And in this scenario, I'm talking about the Fujifilm GFX 100 RF. Now, obviously, like I was on the bandwagon of confused as well, because this is a medium format sensor fixed lens. It's kind of never been done before, I don't think. And also, Fujifilm has their GFX series, you know, that are interchangeable lenses, but they decided to do one that's, well, a fixed lens, almost kind of like an everyday camera. Now, there was a few things I was kind of like iffy about it when it came out. I mean, obviously it's very bulky compared to the X106. I mean, when you look at these two together, side by side, you know, this is bigger, obviously, so it's kind of hard to see why it is for an everyday camera, I guess you would say, because when I look at this, I mean, it looks bigger than the X106, so I obviously think it's an everyday camera almost. And it got me questioning, like, what is this camera really for? Who's it for? You know, what's the point of this? Now, obviously, I do want to say, before we get further into this video, this isn't me making a review of the pros and cons. This is me telling you, and this is maybe like a big foreshadow or spoiler, depending how you want to take it. I really like this camera, and it's crazy good. I was astonished by how good it is. Not, actually, let me take that back. I was astonished about how it really made me love photography and just wanting to continuously capture wherever I'm going. Now, obviously, this came out last year in April of 2025. And so time has passed. I think in January, I was like, I'm gonna rent it. I just wanna kind of see what it's all about. Because I was curious. I mean, I started to see it pop up on social media. People were like starting to buy it. So I was like, okay, let me see what's this all about. So I rented it for a week. I shot around my house, or where I live. I was running around to different parts of where I live, photographing there. And I kind of had a moment where I was just like, I don't know if this camera is for me. You know, it's just, I don't know, like, I'm not really seeing the vibe or the vision, you know? And then I went to Joshua Tree with some, you know, photographers, some friends of mine, and we gathered a bunch of models. We went out, we started photographing them. And I was like, you know what, let me take this camera out and let me start messing around with it. And boy, did I had a change of heart. I felt so great. I felt so good capturing those images. And they're just like, I just started to kind of felt like this level of creativity that started to kind of open in with me. I started to feel like, oh, I want to capture things differently. I wanted to kind of, you know, change the way I've been capturing like how I've always been. You know, I shoot normally on a Sony 7R5. That's my main work camera. So I was like, let me do this completely different. Now, I really want to dive into what made really make this camera like enjoyable, and then what made me kind of feel like this is such a unique camera. I love photographing it. In fact, I've already taken this to Japan. I've been kind of taking this everywhere I go because I've been kind of feeling like I need to take it. That's the thing. That's what kind of makes me like, I know I love this camera. It's when I have that urge to be like, I need to take this. Or if I don't take it, I have moments where I'm like, I really wish I took it, because like imagine the shots on this camera if I did take it. So there's many things I love about the cameras, but I'm only gonna highlight a few because it would just take forever. First things first, this is a medium format. I've shot on medium format sensors, medium format film. I've always loved them. I think the way they capture images is stunningly beautiful, especially if you're shooting on film. You have more room to kind of capture, and you're gonna get these higher quality images. And that's what you got here. This is 102 megapixel. This thing is packed. The raw file sizes are incredibly huge, so be cautious. But even when you shoot on JPEG, if you wanted to save some space, you're still getting that 102 megapixel. It looks incredibly beautiful, and it looks incredibly detailed. Not as detailed as a raw file would be if you like cropped in really tight, but it looks crazy beautiful. So for clarifications, I don't use film recipes on this camera. I use it on my X100VI, and when I had the XE5, I was using it on there. For this one, I've been shooting it on this just a standard, I guess, film recipe, which is just a standard profile. Only thing I change is obviously just my exposure, but also just the white balance. Those are the only things I really change about the camera. So everything I've been shooting has just been going from the camera into Lightroom and then editing what I want to. And I'm gonna be very frank, there are sometimes I will shoot on this camera and just the way the Fujifilm colors are like created, I went in a weird way of saying that, but the way the images is produced, the colors on it are just amazing. They're immaculate. I fall in love with it. And sometimes I'll take a photo and I won't even edit it, and I will just send it to my phone so I can post it. And some stuff, like, I will only change maybe exposure, because like maybe the shadows are a little too dark and I want to bring it up a little bit, you know? Now, the f4, I know for some people it's kind of a turn off, but to be honest, as a portrait photographer, and the more I've been doing photography, I really find myself always constantly going between like the f3 to an f4, sometimes the f5, 6. And so the f4 wasn't really kind of a big deal breaker for me. And also, granted, medium format sensors, and I could be wrong about this, because many people have different point of views, but I really do believe when you're shooting on a medium format sensor, that f4 aperture is technically an f3.5 or f3.2, because it's because of the sensor size, you're capturing more of the image, so the depth of field is going to be a little bit different. So the f4 wasn't really a vibe kill for me. So I've shot portraits on this before, and I really think the f4 really captures more of, I guess, what I'm capturing. It's kind of giving more of the detail, more of what's happening, rather than having a really shallow depth of field where everything is just completely blurry because of the bokeh. So f4 wasn't a kill for me. I actually just prefer it now sometimes. Now, the one thing that really kind of got me like secured on this camera, I guess. I didn't tell you. 2 weeks after I rented it, I ended up buying it because I was just like obsessed with this camera. So I was like, I need to have this. So the one thing that really kind of got me like, got me going is that you have this, let's see if we can focus, this designated aspect ratio dial right here, this little guy here, you can kind of see the numbers. So you can change your aspect ratio to a 4:3, a 17:6, a 65:24. There's a custom button that you can kind of create your own aspect ratio. There are more aspect ratios. I'm just kind of highlighting some of the ones I've always used. And the reason why I think that kind of drew me in was because it kind of got me to be like, okay, I'm so used to shooting on my 7R5 on that aspect ratio. If I'm filming on my FX3, it's a 16:9. So it really kind of got me to think like, okay, like I can get real funky with these aspect ratios. And when I do that, what can I capture that's really gonna make this image, or what I'm envisioning, or I guess the best way to say it is, it kind of lets me to be just a little bit more creative. For the 1-for-1s, now I'm like, okay, cool. So this is a 1-for-1 ratio. This is really, obviously it's gonna be great for Instagram if you're gonna use it, but it's like, okay, cool. Like I am kind of limited in space almost. So how do I capture someone or something, but tell an entire story within that ratio? And my favorite one, and that's why I said I was gonna get into it, is the 65:24. This is equivalent to a panoramic photo. If you know about the Hasselblad X-Pan, it's exactly that kind of size, that ratio. And that thing is crazy, and it is fun, and I use it as anytime I can use it. And I really like it. It looks like I'm photographing, like it looks like when I share the images to people, obviously it is a panoramic shot, but it feels like I am photographing a movie scene. Like I took a snippet and I'm like, oh, look at this cool scene of this film I'm shooting or something like that. Because it I don't know why, but that aspect ratio really changed the tone, the vibe of what I'm capturing. And when I went to Japan, I used it a lot. And when I was doing the photo shoot in Joshua Tree, I captured some really beautiful images of that. And it's like, it changing that aspect ratio. And I guess that's the best way to put it, is that this camera gives you a tool that you can change your perspective, change how you want to capture something. Let's say you're photographing someone and they're sitting on the car, or they're posed in front of some building. It's like, okay, you know, I can shoot how it is and maybe change how my shooting angle is or make the model pose differently. But I think when you have a tool that's designated to change your aspect ratio, you now have something that's going to allow you to be like, hey, how can I change the way this footage, this image is going to look post-process? Because you can obviously do it in post-process Lightroom by using the crop tool, but having something already there, you kind of already have the, I guess you would say, end result. But it allows you to kind of look at things differently. You know, how can this image feel if I change the aspect ratio? And I know some people are going to say stuff like, well, the aspect ratio doesn't do that. But in reality, it kind of does. I mean, you look at a lot of cinematographers and a lot of people, a lot of movies that come out, and you hear people who are so excited about, oh, I can't wait to see this movie in IMAX, because when you see something in IMAX, the ratio is completely different. You're gonna get a bigger field of view. You're gonna get something a little bit more. Versus a standard movie theater, it's cropped so it can fit that screen. So you're losing some of the imagery around there. And I've heard people say that when they get a different ratio, they can actually feel that there's a little bit more of what's going on. And so I think that tool is kind of allowing you to get more into your story that you're telling with taking photos on this camera. Now, I love photography, and no matter what camera I'm using, I'm always gonna feel like every shot is a good shot. I mean, that's just, when you're, as a photographer, you're gonna always have to love your work. Even though there are moments where you kind of hate it, that's just kind of the thing that comes with it. You're gonna hate it at first, but you're gonna still love it because you're like, this is my work, this is my creativity, this is something that I captured. With this camera, I feel like it makes it enjoyable. Even with the mistakes, it still felt like a good image. It felt like a great image I captured on it. And just holding it into my hand, I think about like, oh, I really wanna go outside and take some photos. I mean, it is a beautiful day right now. It's sunny, it's partially kind of cloudy, but it kind of, cameras like this really make me fall in love with photography over and over again. And I kind of just, I think what Fujifilm is doing is that they're really focusing, with particularly these cameras, I feel like what they're trying to do is make photography fun, just to kind of, you know, you relieve yourself from having to be like, I need this shot to be perfect, I need to compose it right, just to kind of go about it and have fun. And actually, it's a good example because I took this X106 to a Padres versus Dodgers game, and I just was hanging out with some friends and I was photographing, and I loved it. I love the images that were being captured on it. And I think that's what like Fujifilm is doing with these kind of styles, these kind of models, because they have their professional ones, and then, you know, like the GFX series, as well as you can say like the T series are, you know, professional. But these guys, like this one, the XE5, the XM5, I think they're really doing is just kind of, they want you to have fun taking photos. And this camera has just really given me that chance to just go outside, have fun. If I'm traveling somewhere, have something that's gonna make me just enjoy taking photos. I don't know. It's one of those cameras that really kind of makes it have fun. I've said that before about another company, Leica. You know, Leica cameras are obviously stupidly expensive, but they really just make taking photos fun, because you're just like, this is just a camera that's not really meant to be professional. It's just something you can walk around, slightly social status, but it's also like just fun to take photos on it. I know this camera's not for everyone. It's a medium format f4. It's 102 megapixels, so it's really sharp, really detailed. But if you're really kind of in a scenario of like, oh, I really want to try it out, I would recommend renting it. I don't know where you're at, but I use Lens Rental all the time. They have this camera, but I would recommend renting it because it might change your mind. And if it doesn't, that's totally okay. Then that means this camera's not for you. But if you really want something just to have fun and kind of be slightly unique, this is the camera to kind of deal with. And again, holding this camera, I really want to go outside and shoot some stuff. But again, try it out. Tell me how you feel about it. Actually, if you own this camera, comment down below if you like it, if you don't like it. And if you don't like it, I kind of want to hear why. And if you do like it, again, I want to hear why. Like and subscribe. You know, it's been a fat minute since I've had a video released. I've just been completely busy with travel, personal life, and so much more. But I'm glad that I'm back. Again, this is like my third time coming back in a routine, but I'm glad the video that you're watching with me coming back is this guy here. I really love this camera. So if you want one, you should go get it. So I don't have a discount code. If I did, I would be posting it everywhere. But anyways, yeah, favorite camera. All right, until next time.